What's up, dudes? Welcome to an album review. We're taking a look at the debut mini album, I should say, really, from the brand new girl group called Favorite, and the album is titled My Favorite. Well, they're making you say it already without actually really believing it. You're saying that they're my favorite. It's not necessarily. Let's not jump to conclusions here, but Are they my favorite? We're gonna kind of find out what I think about that. And this album review is gonna be the first album review that I've ever done that's actually gonna give an actual number score out of 10. So my rating scale is 1 to 10, with 5 being absolutely average, middle of the road, right? So it's neither good nor bad. It just is. And I will have a video coming out sometime in the future that will kind of explain my rating system and the different criteria that I'm looking at and giving scores for. But I'm still kind of developing and just kind of thinking as to like what specific aspects of an album I want to focus on and talk about. And then I'm still working on that. So as it is now, I've got 3 different criteria, 3 different aspects that I'm looking at, and then I take those scores and I average them together, and we get our final album. So if you guys have got any suggestions for really anything that I can use to, or that you think I should look at or focus on specifically when it comes to the albums outside of what I talk about in this video, share that stuff down in the comments below, because I'm definitely, eager, and I want some help with you guys, and of course your feedback to make these album reviews something that are interesting. So let's get it started, and we're going to dive in first by just basically talking about the promo song. We're going to give a score for that as well, and the reason for that is because these songs are the ones that are supposed to sell this album. So if they're good or not, it's kind of important to whether or not the album is, or whether or not anyone is actually going to listen to it or not. So everything else, every other score that comes after this point is honestly irrelevant if the song isn't interesting enough for anybody to listen to. And when it comes to debut songs from girl groups, this song is actually very, very good. I really, really like it, especially too when you actually kind of consider the fact that I think that they're not necessarily like a company that's never launched a K-pop group before, but they're definitely not, like a big time, not really a group or a company that's had a group that's had any sort of substantial success either, but they're not complete, newcomers to the scene. So, they kind of know what they're doing. And, in the sense of it, just looking at it as a small company release, it's actually surprisingly good, I suppose, because generally with a company that from a small company that releases their a song, it's like cheap music video, just really super basic, generic, bland sort of song. But this one is not. The verses are really, really good. The verses are probably my absolute favorite aspect of this song. They highlight the vocal talents of the members that actually get to sing during the verses pretty well. And I think the song's actually pretty balanced in that sense too, where you get a good amount of vocal ability, but it's not really super crazy like focused on being a spotlight for the vocals. The chorus is probably the lowest point in the song in my opinion, but they're also still pretty good as well. Definitely something that's upbeat, energetic, bright sounding, which is really, really good. And then the rap verse is also really, really good, surprisingly, very, very high quality in my opinion. And also, I mean, the music track is just good. I definitely am kind of a big fan of like that bass beat or the percussion beat that's throughout this entire song. Makes it really, really interesting, makes it really, really engaging. And of course, the biggest thing which I touched on in my reaction, my first impression thoughts on this song, is that this is actually a style and a visual concept that is very much different from what a lot of other girl groups actually do. So it's really, really good. And so for the fact that and ultimately I gotta give the promo song, at least in the context of rating this entire album, a 6 out of 10, because it's a really good song. It's very much different, but at the same time, in the context of other groups releasing similarly sounding things, it really isn't too far away from everybody else. So it kind of brings it down towards the median score, which would be a 5, just like average everybody else. So that's why just the promo, the quality of promo song, how interesting it is, gets a 6 for me out of that. So next up, we're going to be talking about the group development from their previous release. And of course, because Favorite doesn't have a previous release, we can't really talk about that in that sense. But what we will do, because we can, is kind of compare it to what the general trend is with the debuts from other girl groups. And kind of what I said sets the promo song apart is what sets this entire rest of the song, the rest of the album apart, because they don't actually go away and deviate from what the sound and the style of the promo song is. They're not doing what Sonamu did with Deja Vu and bring something that is, and have a promotion track to sell the album that is dramatically different from the rest of the album. Because what Sonamu did was they did something that was, more mature, little hip hop, whatever you want to say. And then their album was just like kind of like, this is kind of what you would expect from the debut of a girl group. But with the just the general expectation for girl groups when they debut is that you would do something that's cute to a certain level, whether that's like crazy 11 out of 10 cute, or a little bit toned down. You're definitely much higher up on the scale of the cute and the adorable and all that stuff level when it comes to the music. And of course, that's really mostly just because most of the members, or you have a couple members a lot of times who aren't or I guess the age to be considered an adult for whatever reason. So they're, whatever that number is, 18, 19, whatever it is, and they can't technically do, or the company doesn't want them to be doing sexual, or sexual, more provocative and more adult, more mature sorts of concepts. But for the fact that this is actually a really sort of different deviation from a lot of what other girl groups are doing, again, considering the fact this is also from a smaller company and they tend to follow the trend a lot more than releases from bigger groups are. I gotta give just the development, even though it's not really, but it's a comparison to other girl group debuts, I gotta give it a 9, because it's very much different. It's very much makes them very much unique from debuts from other smaller groups. And then the final thing that I got right now, the final criteria is the track listing, and that's just kind of taking a look at the entire album, listening to it from start to finish in order, because there's a reason why they arranged the songs in that order, and then just kind of sharing what my general thoughts are. And I gotta say, just overall, generally speaking, the journey that this album takes you on through the 4 songs, it's relatively short, but it's a mini album, that's kind of to be expected, is actually very, very fun. It's the entire album is actually a pretty upbeat album. There's only, I think really it's just mostly every song is moderately paced. There isn't anything that's like exceedingly up tempo, or there's nothing that is like really low tempo, slow, methodical. But it's just something, you just got a consistent pace. It's just going, and it like knows where it wants to go. It's not really in a crazy super hurry to get there, but they also have like a little bit of a purpose, right? So it's like someone walking someplace who's not running, but they certainly aren't just like taking their sweet time getting there, right? They know they got to get somewhere, but they aren't rushing, but they do have a purpose in how they're moving. So this is just kind of the general feel of the album from start to finish, which is really, really good. The first 2 songs are, which is the track 1, and then the second song is the promo song, which if you've watched the music video, if you've watched my reaction video, you've already heard. They're very much kind of the same sort of song, and that's a little disappointing, but at the same time, like, it's whatever, it doesn't make any difference. The first song kind of like introduces or sets up the promo song in the progression, so it works. It makes it actually pretty good. And then the final 2 songs are, I think, what definitely makes listening to this album worth it. These are definitely the 2 songs that if you don't listen to anything else on this album, even if you haven't even heard the promo song, you gotta listen to the final 2 songs on this album, because they are definitely, without a doubt, the most interesting songs on the album. And like, I gotta say, my favorite song probably on this album is the final song, because if you've listened to K-pop albums, or you just listen to K-pop for a long time, you kind of get the, know the trend that every single K-pop album, for the most part, seems to end with an actual ballad song. Like, literally every single one of them does. This is a trend. I swear to God, I listen to a lot of albums, I see it. and they've kind of done like, hey, you know what, we see your ballad song, but we're not gonna really go with a ballad song. We're gonna go with something that's definitely vocally based, right? That the vocals are the focus, and the music track isn't really something that is super crazy predominant, but it is still a music track that is in line with the rest of the album. And if you've only listened to the promo song, just kind of keep that in your mind right there. And it's not something that is like, it's the music track isn't crazy. Isn't crazy noticeable or anything like that. And it's also not just like massively upbeat, but it still isn't like super slow feeling. It's a nice moderate sort of pace and a vocal and a focus on presenting their vocals, which is good. It's a ballad song, but at the same time it's not. So I guess, I don't know, a pop ballad. I don't know really what you would call that, but that's really, really good as well. So for that, I mean, it's short sample. It's 4 songs, pretty short sampling of this, but the track listing is definitely good. It's definitely enjoyable. I mean, there's no order of songs that I would really kind of, potentially switch around either. And, for that reason, I gotta give the track listing an 8. So that is, as it is, a 3 criteria that I've got. So just to kind of recap that, I gave the promo song a 6. The development of this group, which is comparing them to the other girl group debuts, a 9. The track listing an overall of 8, and the final score of this album is a 7.6 out of 10. It's on a scale of 1 to 10, so it's a 7.6 out of 10. And yep, that is indeed, we are going to go with partial points as well, because we just kind of need to do that when you're averaging, and just to get the most exact score that we possibly can. We're not going to go past, I think, 1 decimal point, but that's about as deep as it's going to go. So obviously right there, I think this song is a super solid album. It's not like spectacularly amazing, like maybe an 8 or a 9 or a 10 would indicate, but it definitely is something that is above average. It's high quality, without a doubt, or it's relatively high quality. Not like, again, exceptional, but it is definitely not poor. It's different from other girl group debuts, which is good, and that's really it. So like I said, just to finish this up and like wrap it up before we get to like 15 minutes for this, as I said at the beginning of this video, I'm still working on more criteria and potentially changing what I've got. So ideally, I kind of want to just touch on 5 different things instead of the 3. So I'm still looking for 2 things to fill out my ratings or my focus, because in any ideas that you guys have got for that would be very much helpful. Or if you think that what I'm personally looking at in this one is wrong and you think I should change it, then throw it down in the comments below, because of course I make these videos here, these reviews, not only to share what I think, but also for your entertainment a little bit as well. So if it's not really entertaining to you, or you don't agree with the scoring method, then what is the point? So I want your feedback, how I can make these album reviews the best that I possibly could make them. So chuck your suggestions and stuff like that down in the comments below, and of course share your thoughts and opinions on this album if you have listened to it. I'm definitely eager to hear that. And of course, because we're trying to build a community here that is all about having a little bit of friendly and respectful discussion about our thoughts and opinions. So if you would like to join this community here, click on the subscribe button down below. So, of course, you can become a part of the community, obviously, and you can join the discussion. So that is going to be it for this video. As always, I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.